My name is Aida Cato. I'm from St. Stepanos Armenian Church. I am so thrilled and excited to be with Congressman Pallone. He is the best there is. He is our neighbor. We support him till the end. And I wish, and I have to thank also Tavit and Sossie for hosting this yearly event that I'll never miss. And everybody here is so friendly. Frank, God bless you. Continue the good work. You are the best there is.
Congressman, how can you top what she said?
I can't top what I just said. First of all, she's always worked so hard at the church since the father. She's always, every time there's a picnic or an event, she's always putting everything together and organizing it. So thank you.
I think she echoed the feeling of the whole group here.
It comes from the heart.
First of all, Sossie and I, we welcome you all for being here. This is an incredibly beautiful gathering because some of my best friends from Middlesex County are here. This is an exceptional year for me because for the first time, my wonderful friends who are the contingency of the American Sri Lankan community are here with me. And it's solely due to the ambassador of the Sri Lankan people in New Jersey. His name is Vajira Gunawardana, who has been my colleague for over 37 years now. As an environmental engineer and very much interested in environmental issues, Frank is a champion of environmental issues, and through his good work and through his participation in many of the endeavors along the shorelines of New Jersey, we have been blessed through his efforts to make sure that the shoreline of New Jersey always has sand and always has a welcoming environment for not only the residents of Monmouth and Middlesex County, but for many people that are resident within the tri-state area. And for that, we thank you, Frank. Oh. Now, being an Armenian, this fellow, about 30 years ago, started a congressional caucus for Armenian affairs. And I'm ashamed to say that he has been to Armenia many more times than I have been. He has been there a number of times, and during the formative years of the independent Republic of Armenia after the collapse of Soviet Union, he has made an immense contribution to the welfare of that country because he has a vested interest in making sure that Armenia becomes a democratic and a friendly country to the United States. He has done a fantastic job towards that objective. And over the years, he has effected a substantial amount of foreign aid contribution to Armenia so that Armenia could stand on its feet. And we thank you for that. Don't stop doing that. It is my distinct honor and pleasure and really my joy to invite my friend of 35 years, Congressman Frank Pallone. I usually call him Frank Pallone. In Armenian, Pallone means shining.
But I wanted to mainly talk about Armenia briefly. And we have had, what happened in May, in Armenia, we had what we call the Velvet Revolution. That's what it's been called. It's the only time in my memory in the former Soviet Republic, and of course I include Russia itself, right, where people took to the streets because they were not happy with the government, and through peaceful means, the leader of the opposition that organized the street protests and brought up all the people out in these mass demonstrations in the capital, the then president of Armenia stepped down, and the parliament elected the opposition leader who was organizing the street demonstrations as the new prime minister. So it's called the Velvet Revolution, you know, like a velvet glove or whatever, because it's the first time we ever had that happen in any of the former Soviet republics, including Russia itself. And so it's testimony, it's a huge event, it's testimony to the fact that the Armenians as a people really want democracy, really want rule of law, really want to be associated with the West, and also want to root out corruption, because many of the oligarchs, many of whom were, you know, in Russia actually, were basically, you know, running things. And the people rose up, but there was no, you know, violence in the streets, there was no shooting of guns, and we have a new government, which I think is fantastic. And one of the things that some of you asked me is, you know, what is this going to mean in terms of the U.S.? Well, just a couple weeks ago, I think it was October 10th, the State Department announced that they're going to have a huge infusion of funds over and above what they previously gave to Armenia. And next year it's even going to be twice that. And you know how hard it is for us to get any money out of the State Department to do anything for Armenia. Usually we have to appropriate it by law because they don't want to part with anything. So we see the U.S., you know, in a significant way, I don't want to exaggerate it too much, now being supportive of this government in the way that they have not been before. Now, it's a delicate situation. You know, there's still, you know, I'm not saying you're going to root out corruption and all this is going to change overnight, but it is significant that it happened without firing a single shot. The State Department has this official policy, as many of you know, saying we'll have no relations, we won't recognize Artsakh, we won't communicate with them, we won't, you know, do anything with them. And we're trying to change that. So we're trying to pass a resolution, or even if it isn't by resolution, to say that's not acceptable. Americans should be able to go to Artsakh. It should be, there should be communications, and the United States has to stop this policy of basically, we're not asking that they formally recognize Artsakh as a country, but we do expect that they have commerce with them, you know, tourism with them, open borders in terms of Americans being able to go there, and the State Department doesn't discourage people from going.
You have been in the Congress for now 30 years.
Wow.
And we hope you stay for another 30 years because we need people like you to really shape and mold the policies of the United States towards the positive, better